Everything okay? I'd ask casually. When she returned from one of those urgent calls, just work stuff, she'd reply, with that smile that once made my heart flutter, but now only made my stomach tighten. I'm not one to get jealous easily. I've always believed that trust and independence are key in a relationship. And Sophie knew how much I valued honesty. Maybe that's why this hurts even more. It was a typical Tuesday evening. I'd just come home from work, loosened my tie, and was mulling over dinner ideas. Sophie was singing in the shower, humming that familiar tune about memories and dancing. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table, and the name on the screen froze me. David. David, her ex. Her friends used to jokingly call him the one that got away, always catching themselves and shooting me apologetic glances. Back then, the jokes didn't bother me. I was confident in what we had. Or so I thought. The preview message hit me like a blow. I'm not sure if breaking up with him would be a mistake. My hands trembled as I stared at the words. The right thing would have been to leave it alone. But sometimes the right thing feels impossible when your world's about to collapse. I picked up her phone, still unlocked, and the chat history appeared. With every message, my chest tightened. Nathan isn't like you in bed. Something feels missing. He's so sensitive. I can't even joke or be real with him without him taking it the wrong way. You knew me better than anyone ever will. The shower water still ran. Sophie's voice carrying through the apartment, oblivious to the wreckage. I kept reading, my hands numb. He's too predictable. You were exciting and fun. I think I settled for comfort when I craved passion. The shower stopped. I set the phone down hurriedly, my thoughts racing. What do you do when the person you love views you as their backup plan? Hey, babe, Sophie called out, stepping into the room with her hair wrapped in a towel, water dripping onto the floor. Feel like ordering Thai tonight? I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd shared my dreams and fears with. The woman who'd been secretly comparing me to her ex, dissecting my flaws and doubting us. Actually, I said, my voice steady. Though my insides churned, we need to talk. Her smile faltered. Is everything okay? No, I said, holding her phone up. And I think you know why. The color drained from her face. But what I saw wasn't regret or guilt. It was anger, like I had done something wrong. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about some texts. It was about respect, trust, and whether any of it had ever been real. The thing about trust is, once it breaks, you start questioning everything. Every late night at work, every I love you, every smile. Was it genuine? Or was I just the safe option while she waited for something better? I took a deep breath. The conversation ahead would change everything. But maybe that was exactly what needed to happen. God, Nathan's face right now. That calm, infuriatingly composed look, like he's some saint catching me in the act. I'm Sophie. We're sitting at Romano's, our go-to Friday night spot, and he just dropped the bomb. He's seen my texts with David. Oh, you went through my private messages? I tried to keep my voice level, but inside I'm furious. That's such an invasion of trust, Nathan. He doesn't flinch, doesn't even blink. Just sits there, hands clasped, like we're in some formal meeting. Trust, he asks. You want to talk about trust while you're sharing details of our relationship with your ex? It's not like that, I say, swirling my wine glass to distract myself. David and I have known each other for years. He just gets me. That's exactly the issue, he says. My defenses rise. You always make everything so black and white. You're blowing this way out of proportion. If you weren't so insecure, I wouldn't need to talk to someone else. So now it's my fault. His voice stays irritatingly calm. I'm insecure because you're confiding in your ex about us. You're twisting my words. I lower my voice as a waiter passes by. It's normal to have someone to talk to. Everyone needs outside perspectives. Sophie, he says, his tone sharp. You told him private details about our sex life. Oh, come on, I scoff, though my stomach knots. That was one comment, totally blown out of proportion. You're focusing on the negative because of your own issues. The restaurant feels stiflingly warm. Nathan doesn't break eye contact. Those eyes that once made me feel secure, now making me feel exposed. If you trusted me, I say, regaining my momentum, this wouldn't even be an issue. Friends talk about relationships all the time. Friends? He raises an eyebrow. Is that what David is? Just a friend? See, I snap, this is exactly what I mean. You're so obsessed with David that you can't think clearly. Maybe if you weren't so uptight, I wouldn't need to talk to someone who actually understands me. Nathan doesn't react. Instead, he gives me a sad smile. You know what's interesting, Sophie? How you've made this about me. My supposed paranoia, my flaws. When you're the one who betrayed our trust. That's not. You're right about one thing, he interrupts. I do have trust issues now, because the person I love would rather open up to her ex than to me. You're being dramatic, I snap, grabbing my purse. Call me when you're ready to be rational. As I stand, his words stop me cold. Sit down, Sophie. We're not done. Unless you'd rather run to David and tell him how unreasonable I'm being. Flushing, I sink back into my seat. When did Nathan get so bold? He's supposed to apologize, back down, promise to change. You don't understand, I say, my voice softer. I was just confused. No, Sophie. For the first time, I understand perfectly, he replies. And that's what scares you, isn't it? He's right, but I'll never admit it. So, I lash out instead. If you weren't so damn perfect all the time, I snap. Maybe I wouldn't need someone who knows how to live. The instant the words leave my mouth, I know they're a mistake. Nathan's face hardens. You know what's funny? He says. How everything becomes so clear when you stop making excuses for someone. He leans forward, cutting through my protests. Let's break this down, Sophie. When you have issues in a relationship, you talk to your partner, not your ex. David's just a friend, I argue. No, Sophie. Friends don't discuss breaking up with their partners or share intimate details. Friends respect boundaries. The waiter approaches but quickly retreats. And let's talk about boundaries, Nathan continues, his tone steady. You've crossed every reasonable one in our relationship. You've shared private details, kept an emotional connection with your ex, and disguised it as friendship. That's not fair, I begin. No. What's unfair is how you make me feel like I'm losing my mind for being uneasy about your connection with David. What's unfair is you trying to manipulate me into thinking I'm just insecure when I have every reason to be concerned, I say, pausing to sip my water and collect my thoughts. The restaurant hums around us, couples laughing and talking over their meals, oblivious to the implosion unfolding at table 12. You know what really stings? I continue, fixing my eyes on her. It's not just the betrayal of trust. It's the complete disregard you've shown for me and for our relationship. Every time you ran to David instead of addressing your issues with me, you chose to undermine what we've built. Each time you compared us, you disrespected everything we stand for. Sophie's eyes glisten, but I've learned not to be fooled by her tears. They're as much a weapon as her words. And let's not forget your favorite excuse, I press on. That I'm too sensitive, too stable, too predictable. You've twisted my best traits into faults because they don't fit the story you're trying to tell. You crave drama, don't you, Sophie? You want passion without effort, excitement without commitment. That's not true, she whispers, her voice faint and unconvincing. Isn't it? I counter, pulling out my phone. Let's take a look at your messages. You told David I'm too sensitive because I care about your feelings and want to work through our problems. You called me predictable because I have a steady job and prefer meaningful conversations over chaos. You said you settled for comfort when what you wanted was passion, as if stability and passion can't coexist. The honesty cuts sharper in the air of the restaurant than it did on the screen. I watch Sophie's face as each word dismantles her defenses, leaving her bare. But here's what hurts the most, I add, my voice dropping but remaining firm. You had choices, Sophie. If you were unhappy, you could have come to me. If you felt something was lacking, we could have worked on it. Instead, you decided to betray my trust in the most fundamental way possible, by casting me as the villain in your story, just to justify your emotional affair with David. She flinches at the word affair, but I don't relent. Your actions reveal a pattern, Sophie. A pattern of immaturity and selfishness I can't ignore anymore. You're not just confused. You're destructive. You destroy trust, respect, and intimacy because you can't face your own flaws. I never wanted to hurt you, she says, her voice trembling. But you did, I interrupt, my tone unwavering. Over and over. Every time you hit send on those messages to David, you chose to hurt me. Each time you belittled our relationship to him, you chose to disrespect what we had. And now, instead of owning up to it, you're dodging responsibility. Reaching for my wallet, I place enough money on the table to cover the barely touched meal. The saddest part, I say, rising from my seat. You were so fixated on what you thought you were missing. You never appreciated what you had. You wanted passion. I gave you dedication. You wanted thrill. I gave you reliability. You wanted drama. I gave you stability. But none of it was ever enough because you're chasing some idealized version of love that doesn't even exist. I glanced down at her one last time. The woman I loved, the person I thought I knew, looked small and lost in her expensive dress. Goodbye, Sophie, I say. I hope one day you figure out what you really want, but I won't be here to see it. The cool night air greets me like a slap as I stride out of Romano's. My heels click sharply against the pavement, mirroring the rhythm of my stormy thoughts. Nathan actually threw me out. Me. After everything I've done for him, everything we've been through together. Unbelievable, I mutter under my breath, ignoring the curious glances of a passing couple. Maybe I am crazy. Just unfreaking believable. My phone buzzes. For a fleeting moment, I hope it's Nathan. But no, it's David. Of course it's David. I shove the phone into my purse without answering. The irony isn't lost on me. The very person who helped create this mess is now trying to check on me. God, he thinks he's so perfect. I growl, pacing the sidewalk, my anger bubbling over. Mr. Stable Job, Mr. Nice Apartment, Mr. Everything in its place. Like that makes him some kind of prize. Nearby, a group spills out of a bar, their laughter cutting through the night. I want to scream at them. Don't you know my world is crumbling? You know what, Nathan? I hiss, directing my frustration at the ghost of him. Your money and stability mean nothing if you can't even listen, if you can't show real care. My mascara is undoubtedly smeared by now, but I don't care. Let them all see. Let them see what he's done to me. A bitter laugh escapes me. Harsh and almost hysterical. He actually thinks he's better than me, as if I need his financial security or whatever else he offers. My voice rises, echoing down the empty street. I don't need your damn fancy dinners or your perfect 5-year plans. I collapse onto a bench, my legs trembling, my hands shaking. And then he had the audacity, the nerve, to bring up David, as if he's the real issue. I dig my nails into my palms, trying to ground myself. Fine, I spit out. So what if David doesn't have a steady career or a perfect credit score? At least he cares. At least he sees me for who I really am. Tears flow freely now, hot and furious. So what if I leaned on David? Was I supposed to spend my entire life with someone who made me feel invisible? Someone who thought love was nothing more than stability and a retirement plan? My phone buzzes again. David, still waiting for a reply. I don't answer. Not this time. I glance up as a couple strolls by. The woman, laughing softly at some private joke with her partner. The sight makes my chest ache. And now look at me, I mutter, waving a hand at nothing. Out here alone, talking to myself like some lunatic. A choked laugh escapes, tinged with despair. But you know what? Nathan isn't my problem anymore. Let him think he's so much better than me, so flawless with all his routines. And David, he's not the solution either. He can't save me. The night stretches out before me, dark and endless. I have no idea where I'm going. Not to Nathan's perfectly arranged apartment. Not to David's chaos either. I don't need them, I declare to the empty street, my voice unsteady. I'll figure it out. I always do. But as I say the words, the tears keep falling. I really believed this time would be different. Taking a deep, shaky breath, I whisper, "At least I'm free now. That's something, right?" I wipe my face, smearing what's left of my makeup, and pull out my phone. My fingers hover over David's messages before I shove it back into my bag. Not tonight. I rise, my steps uncertain but determined. No destination, just forward. Away from Romanos, away from Nathan, away from everything I thought I knew. I'll be fine, I murmur, trying to convince myself. I always am. But in the stillness of the night, with no one left to blame, the truth I've been avoiding finally catches up. Maybe Nathan wasn't the problem after all.